Welcome to Pardon the Intermission, a podcast that takes a look at movies, TV, and all things entertainment from the past, the present, and the future. Remember to subscribe and like the podcast and give a review. This helps out the podcast and is greatly appreciated. Now on to the show. Yes, hey everyone, welcome to Pardon the Intermission. I am Eric, and I'm here with a couple of special guests again. They're returning this week because of the movie that we had just seen. Before we get to that, as always, you can follow us on X at PTI_podcast. We're also on Facebook. Check out Pardon the Intermission. And we are on YouTube and Rumble. Just look us up in the search bar, Pardon the Intermission. And if you can, subscribe, like the show. We do appreciate it. Turn on those notifications when we do post stuff. I've got one of the special guests doing her crazy eyebrows at me over here. Okay, who do we have here? We have you first. I'm pointing at you.
I'm Jen.
You're Jen. It's my wife Jen back for another episode. And Millie. What are you pointing at me for? I know who I am. I'm Eric. Anyway, guys, we came back from what movie, Millie? Elio. We just went and saw Elio, the new movie put out by Pixar, and we're gonna get into. We're gonna try to do a non-spoiler. You know what that means, Millie? Mm-hmm. It means you don't give away a lot of the plot points. You don't tell like, oh, this is the ending, and then maybe we can talk spoilers a little bit later. So we're gonna do a non-spoiler, just kind of quick go through what we thought of the movie overall, and if we would recommend or not, and then we'll get into maybe some more of the spoiler stuff, okay? So we'll start with Jen. What did you think about the movie, Jen? And did you like it? Did you not like it?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah, I think I feel like Pixar is back with this animation. Pixar newest Pixar animation film.
Yeah.
Oh, Millie's looking at me. I'm sorry. Am I not speaking into the mic? I am a human. I am speaking into the mic.
We're getting technical direction here from my daughter. Okay. So sorry, I got a little distracted there. So you think Pixar's back then with this one?
Yeah, it was quite enjoyable. I thought it had a great message. It was very simple, back to basics. And I had a couple of tears in my eyes, so it did what it needed to do. Mm. Okay, Millie.
Uh-oh, she's giving more.
What is this?
She's a producer of the show right now.
You always tear up in movies.
I do, because I'm a very empathetic person.
Mom's a sensitive soul.
I can't kill a bug. Come on. That's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so you you teared up at the end.
I loved the animation. Is it like a Pixar animation?
Yeah, Pixar's animated. Yeah, it's an animated film.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's nothing that really
bugged you.
Yeah, I really thought it was an excellent film, and it pulled on my heartstrings, and I can't think of anything negative to say about it at all.
Would you recommend
it? Was pretty solid. I would definitely recommend it. I would say definite 9 out of 10.
Whoa, wow, that's big. That's a high mark there. Mm-hmm. That's a big rating. What about you, Millie? What'd you think about the movie?
It was good.
And you didn't even sit with us. You sat with your friends. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you embarrassed by us in the movie theater? Or?
No.
Okay.
The whole time I was like, is Mom crying? I wonder if she is.
She was. Okay. So what did you think about the movie? You thought it was good? Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Did you think the movie was about for your age group? Or did you think it was a little too young for you? Or maybe a little too old as far as the content, the story?
I don't know.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
maybe in the middle.
In the middle, you followed the story pretty well. You enjoyed it. Yeah, you didn't cry at all? No?
It's more of like a little kids movie more than like a big kids movie, but
okay, that's what I was kind of getting at. Yeah. Would you recommend people go see it? Do you think it was worth that, or yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You think it's worth going to the theater and watching? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right, good. I'm gonna say that for me, I was surprised. I mean, I've heard a lot of the reviews, and there's been a lot of negative reviews about the movie.
Why?
Well, they say that the story's not very well done, which I will agree with that. But I think the story, I think people expect more out of Pixar. But that's why I was asking the question to Millie about the age, because I think that the story is for more younger kids.
Yeah,
It's
more
a very
younger kids want to
yeah,
watch
it's
it.
a very simple
It was
story.
very simple, but there were some ebbs and flows, you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, it had a tad of depth. It had a little bit of depth, but yeah, the story overall was very surface. It was very surface. I think it was very plain. It did have heart, and towards the end, it surprised me. It actually did surprise me a little more. I kind of in the middle of the story, I was kind of finding myself maybe a little daydreaming and kind of wandering a little bit. But I would say that towards the end, it kind of brought me back in, and I got more involved with the characters. Now, I'm going to say this too. Well, I'll save that for the spoiler. Just remind me, and I'll come back to it, especially with you, Jen, because this will make sense with you what I have to say. Overall, so to finish it out, the story, yes, was kind of basic. It did have heart. It did pull me back in. What I was going to is that people were saying they were kind of knocking it just because of that. They thought the animation was not very great, and I will agree with that. For Pixar, I thought there would have been, I mean, I think it was very colorful, but there again, it was more, the colors and the way it was presented was more for a younger audience, younger as I would say 7 and below, maybe even 5 and below. The animation didn't seem very sophisticated, especially coming from Pixar. Didn't seem like, it just didn't seem like that. And I think that's why I was kind of wandering for a while too, because it just didn't have that pull for my eye to be on the screen all the time. That's the sense that I got.
I think because it was so, I'm trying not to give spoilers here. With the other characters, it was very nothing too extraordinary, if that makes sense. Just very basic, bubbly things. Mm-hmm. And I think with the background, what they were showing kind of ties in. It wasn't too extreme. But I don't say basic in a bad way. I think maybe they do have a different type of target audience.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I loved it though. I mean, I honestly, I thought it was really good.
What did you, as far as Millie, as far as your, what would you give it as far as like between 1 and 10? What do you think you would rate it on a scale?
How many millies?
How many millies would you give it? Out of 10. 10 millies being the highest, the top of the line, the top of the mountain. 10 millies. What would you give it?
I'd say an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5? That's pretty high.
8.5
That's
millies.
good. Okay, good. All right. Mm-hmm. I like it. All right.
Because it was more like of a little kid's movie more.
Yeah.
Than a bigger kid's movie.
But you still enjoyed the story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you like the characters? The main character, Elio, did you like him?
Yeah, but I should say this in the spoilers. Never mind.
Okay, but I mean, you were okay. So let's do this. I'll finish out, and then I'll let you come back to your point. So I think I would probably have given it probably a 6, maybe a low 6, maybe a high 5 on the scale of millies here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't bad. It just didn't, to me, it didn't have the sophistication that a Pixar should. And even for kids, I think if you're talking Pixar, I mean, you're going up against what? Cars? How many Pixar movies? Toy Story? There's a ton of movies that I think.
I don't think it was intending to beat those, though.
I don't think it was intending to beat those.
No.
But what I'm saying is that when you're going up against those, I think that this was lower on that scale. It was very basic, for sure. Maybe they're playing it safe. Maybe they're trying to go, Pixar, since it is and it's involved with Disney. Maybe they're trying to play it more safe on their scale, to really, because they really need some wins. That studio definitely. They did pretty good with Inside Out too. I think that was a surprise. People were kind of worried about that, but I think if you look at even at Inside Out 2, I think even the animation on that was maybe a little stronger. Okay, going back now, we're gonna do spoilers. So, folks, if you don't want to hear spoilers, go watch the movie and then come back and finish our show and see if you agree with the rest of what we have to say. Millie, what were you saying about? You said you're gonna wait till spoilers.
What was weird was what was that character called?
Which one?
The one that
The worm?
No.
His friend, the worm, the larva, whatever it is.
It was nothing in space.
Nothing in space. You're talking about the other character, the other boy.
There was two boys.
Yeah, that were trying to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the first one that came up, what was his name?
Oh man, I don't know.
First one that came up.
Yeah, I'd have to look him up. I'm not sure.
Oh, was it? I see Bryce and Caleb.
Was it Bryce or Caleb? Probably Bryce, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about the one that he was asking about the ham radio club. He's like, "Hey, do you have the ham radio club?"
Yeah, the one that came up first.
Yeah.
One with
I think that was Bryce. Yeah.
The second one had the blonde hair, not that one.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, so what was different about him?
When he was in camp.
Yeah.
Because they were being mean to him. Both those two boys being really mean to him.
Yeah.
And then in the spaceship, when they're trying to go back to the worm's home.
Yeah, they're trying to go back to the Communiverse, which was the main. Now, the Communiverse was the main area that the boy went to originally. Yes.
What was weird was and then when Elio called him from the little thingy
From the radio.
he was all nice to him.
Yeah. Well, no, did you hear he kind of apologized? Now, when they set his character up, when the boys, so what essentially happened is Elio's trying to talk to people in outer space. So he has a little radio, but it's not strong enough. So essentially he ends up having basically putting an ad out that he has this shortwave ham radio club to get people to come and bring their equipment so he can plug it into his and be stronger. So he only wants equipment. He doesn't want friends at that point, right? So these boys that show up, he's basically like, yeah, just give me your radio. And so the reason that they're kind of mean to him is because they end up into this big kind of fight because, at first it's like, oh, we want to be friends, and he's kind of rude to him. And then they kind of end up, they were kind of wrestling around, and they got in big trouble. I guess the beach patrol or whoever caught him out there on the beach when he's trying to, and when they're fighting, and they get in big trouble. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, his aunt. Now, obviously, in this movie, this is the spoiler section. We find out that Elio's parents have passed. I guess they had an accident.
And they never explained what happened, or were they astronauts? And is it in the family? Because remember her or his.
Well, his aunt works
for the Air Force.
Yeah, his aunt works for the Air Force. I think they probably just passed away. I don't think it was necessarily. Now,
the reason why I say that because. But there's a picture of his parents, and then he has two little
astronaut toys.
Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking.
Maybe
it's in the family.
Yeah, could be.
I thought in the movie they said his parents were astronauts. Didn't he say that?
I don't know.
That's what I caught.
I might have missed that.
Yeah.
I might have missed that.
I think they were,
that.
but they never explained what happened.
Well, so essentially what I was getting at is that so the aunt's taking care of him now, and then at some point. Later in the movie, she's trying to help him make friends because he's not making any friends. He's just kind of this loner kid at this point, and she's trying to get him out of the bubble and shell. And I think she needs a little break too because she's, a lot of stuff he's done, and she almost loses her job at one point. And so he goes to camp, and of course, these two other boys, he had a fight with her at the camp, and that's what you're talking about, Millie. Is that when they were there, and then they were, we're gonna scare him. They were just trying to scare him, really. They weren't trying to do anything bad to him, but I think they were just trying to get him back because they got in big trouble for that, for what they see that he did, because he kind of started the whole mess originally. But when he called on the ham radio, which talking about is that the boy said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't know they were going to do that." So he kind of apologized, and one kid, Bryce, apologized to him real quick and saying, "Hey, I didn't know they were going to do that, and I'm sorry." So obviously that kind of showed that he wasn't necessarily that's where the change you're talking about came in. Yeah, so that's why. So you said you didn't quite understand that, but now do you kind of understand that he actually wasn't, that kid wasn't that bad. He was just kind of going along with the other kid, and
Yeah, the other kid.
yeah, and he felt bad because they were just supposed to scare him, and they didn't really want to hurt him or anything. And but then he, obviously things got a little out of control there at the camp. But yeah, so that's when they apologized. So I will say this, as far as spoilers, like we said, basically what happens in the whole story is that Elio ends up, he can't find, he's not having a hard time with the friends, but he connects with the Voyager, comes up, which I thought was cool. Brought back the Voyager. I remember, I can't remember what year it was. 86? When did it launch, the Voyager? Anyway, they launched the Voyager out in space, which basically had this gold disc, this gold record on it that had like all the stuff they had recorded from
like a time capsule or
kind
something.
Well, kind of to show if there's any intelligent life out there, kind of to show what our planet is about. They took a bunch of different recordings.
Message in a bottle, that's what they said.
Yeah, kind of a message in a bottle, like, hey, we're here, and they had all the different languages in it, and they had different sounds and different things to kind of explain our planet in a way, and hopefully to connect with other life out there. And so I guess, with him losing his parents and he can't quite connect with his aunt, he's really kind of just trying to find his own way. He asks the aliens to come and get him. He actually sends a message. That's kind of cool. Through the, when she's on base and they say, oh, we have contact. And then so he sends a message, and that's how the aliens come to find him and then take him to the Communiverse, which is basically like this big galactic, what would you call it? Not board, but kind of like a political setup.
They all have representation.
Yeah, where they're all represented. Yeah, exactly. They all have this, like a representation, kind of like how we have our government, the Congress or the Senate, where you send your person from your state. These people are sending, everyone from their planet, one person from their planet or whatever, and to kind of represent.
And they're not used to conflict.
And they're not used to conflict, which is interesting. And then, of course, this alien comes in, this other one comes in, and he's kind of like, kind of rough and gruff, and, I should be a member of here and this and that, and they rub him the wrong way.
It's like, think Thanos.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I was like, kind of, thinking of that.
Oh, yeah,
that
Thanos, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So then this character comes in, this Thanos-like character comes in. I can't remember what his name is. Oh, my gosh, was it not Gordian, but something like that, right? What was it? Oh.
Lord Grigon.
Oh, Lord Grigon. Yeah. Oh, and that was played by Brad Garrett. As a matter of fact, I'll mention that the aunt was played by Zoe Saldana, and the kid's name, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, was Jonas Kibrieb, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, he did a great job too, voicing Elio. But so essentially, they come. Elio doesn't want to go back to his planet. He says, hey, I'll negotiate with this guy because this guy says either you let me join or I'll destroy you, essentially, right? This Grigon, Lord Grigon. And, of course, things don't go the way that Elio plans. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to negotiate. He's trying to figure out how to do all this in the last minute. And he feels he found his place. And then... of course, he gets
a sense of belonging, too.
Yeah, a sense of belonging, yeah. So I think we all feel that, at times, that we all kind of feel like outsiders, like we don't quite fit in. He goes over to the spaceship to negotiate with this alien so he doesn't destroy the Communiverse, and things go wrong, and he becomes a prisoner, and then he escapes, and then he actually finds a friend in the Lord Grigon, is it Grigon? Grigon's son. And so, they kind of become pals, and they come up with this plan. And then quickly to, what are you looking at me?
Gordon.
And then quickly to wrap it up. So essentially, he basically, of course, Elian basically saves Communiverse. The son says, I don't want to be like a warrior like his father, the kid that he befriends, or the alien that he befriends, which is his name. What is his name? Glordon, right? Glordon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he basically says, I don't want to be like my dad, and then and so actually that's where the heart comes in.
Oh, that was very sweet.
Yes.
So, Lord, how come I can't remember?
Lord Grigon.
Lord Grigon is. It's almost like if you can imagine like a little squished up little caterpillar alien type of
with no
membrane
eyes.
with no eyes. in another shell to make it, like a big
hard outer shell,
right.
kind of like I guess people would I don't know if you know, but like a mech suit. Have you ever seen those where like the guy gets inside and it's this big like robot mechanical,
huge.
and he's huge,
right.
and he's got all these weapons.
As soon as he sees that his son is not doing well, and because he was on Earth and then back up in the galaxy, he's just not doing good. And there's a scene in there where he gets out of his shell and he takes his son and he swaddles him up with this material.
It's like caterpillar, like cocoon material.
He swaddles him up and he starts rocking him. And like, oh my gosh, it gets back to that nurture.
Well, yeah, it goes to show that even what I liked about that is that the movie showed family. It really focused on family. And even though if you don't have all your family, it's the family you do have. Like Elliot had his aunt, but they didn't connect until the very end, that they were able to connect. And the same with Lord Gregan and what was I going to say about and they did make a point, and that was the whole thing, is that you cannot, once you go into this shell, once you go into this hard casing, this robot-like thing, you're never supposed to come out of that. You're never supposed to show your soft body, and that was the worst thing you could do on their planet. That was the most,
Well, then at the end he came out.
But at the end he came out to save his son, huh? Yeah. So what he showed us is the family is more important than just, whatever rules they had. It was more important that he, try to save his son, because his son had almost died as well. And so it was a very good story. The funny part, obviously, was that, Elio, even though he was gone to the Communiverse, they created a copy of him so that they could replace him on Earth, and they couldn't, that way nobody would miss him. So here's the other thing, Jennifer, I wanted to point back to you mainly, is that this reminded me...
Jennifer.
This movie reminded me of a lot of different movies. With the copy, it reminded me, have you ever seen The Last Starfighter?
No.
You never saw The Last Starfighter? So The Last Starfighter has a premise where the guy has to go into the galaxy and fight. He's recruited to fight the aliens, and he has this starship that they give him. But so he's not missed on Earth. They have a copy of him that is left on Earth. And the copy is kind of goofy, kind of like this one is. There's like goofy things that happen. It had that. There were some other vibes, alien vibes. It had from or a Close Encounter. Sorry, it did have alien vibes.
It had an alien vibe.
It had Close Encounter.
It had an Easter egg of Alien. For sure.
And it had Close Encounter vibes. So there were. I will say, I was going to say that about the movie. I didn't want to spoil it necessarily in the first section. To me, it seemed like it had a lot of different influences, and it had a lot of little Easter eggs and things from other movies that we have seen.
Paid homage
to, exactly. Growing up, what did you think about that?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I think that's why it little kids will like it. It's a family movie, but then, when our generation watches it, we're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So it relates to all audiences, which is, I think it's a big win.
Yeah. You've never seen The Last Starfighter? Oh my gosh,
I'm sure you're gonna show me.
I'm gonna have to get that movie, and we're gonna have to watch it and then do a review. We don't
have it in our huge DVD collection.
I don't think we have it in our collection, no. Someone's Millie, what's going on with you over there? You're awful quiet. You're awful quiet over there. Any last thoughts here about the movie? Was there anything that stuck out to you? Did you like anything in particular, or is there a part that you were like, it didn't quite work, or what did you think? She's thinking, folks, right now. She's thinking about it. I don't know.
I hope there's a
Did you
second Elio.
You hope there's a second one?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I'd watch it again.
Would you? Or would you rewatch the movie? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good sign. All right.
It was a good movie.
Had a positive message.
Yeah, I think ultimately, the message, like we talked about, it had a lot of family. I was really surprised with this movie, because with Disney, we know a lot of the stories have kind of gone, well, even with Pixar, it might have gone a little woke or a little sideways. This one seemed to really, that's the one thing I will say, is that it really, we got another guest in here. We got our doggy in here. She's coming in to see us now in the room. That's the one thing I will say is that, go ahead. Go ahead, Mel.
I forgot to say this. I know I had I was like, oh, what did I forget? It's a family movie. Definitely a family movie.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, so I was just going to say that, yeah, it really stuck with the family theme, and it seemed to definitely have a heart, and not too, a lot of the movies these days, especially the animated, are going into the political sphere, and it didn't. It seemed,
nothing.
yeah, it just seemed pretty
had heart.
pretty plain. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, the Communiverse, and I've heard other people complain about that. I didn't see any issue with it really. It just seemed like a way to kind of let us relate that these, all these worlds have come together.
Let's all
and
be
that
kind.
have, yeah. So it to me, it didn't really have any necessarily issues with that. But I definitely, one more thing here from Millie. Go ahead.
Bailey told me that it's good.
Oh, the doggy liked it? Our doggy? Our doggy Bailey? Yeah, I would recommend it definitely for kids. I don't know, when they get a little bit older, I'd say probably 7 and under are probably good. Maybe a little bit older might enjoy it, but it's definitely not, as far as the story, it's not sophisticated like I've said before. As far as the animation, not the best, but it's not the worst. So I would say it was a good, like I said, a good solid middle of the ground Pixar movie overall. But I think it'd be a good family movie. One more question, Millie. If you could only watch one more movie again, would it be Lilo and Stitch or this one or Elio? Oof. What would your choice be? Because we also reviewed Lilo and Stitch, so.
Well,
2, I should say, Lilo and Stitch 2.
You know what I wish they would make another Elio, but like a live action one.
Really? You want to see a live action one? Yeah.
It's hard to compare. I'm going to compare it. I'm going to pretend that Lilo and Stitch in the live action was the exact same thing as the animated, and let's see.
What? I don't know. Would you... Is it that hard? Maybe it's a tie. You can say it's a tie. That's okay. Would you watch both of them again? Would you rather watch Lilo and Stitch or Elio? Oh my gosh, I didn't know this was going to be such a...
They both have aliens in them. I'd even...
Yeah,
I was going to say it's apples and oranges,
and
but...
both of them have touching moments.
Yeah.
Both of them mom cried in.
I like how they... I think I mentioned to it already before, they... in certain movies, like, okay, everyone speaks English. Okay, they explain that to where each alien being has their own language and how they speak, and they're all different. However, they have this little device where it maybe it's like Google Translate, I don't know. And then they give it to that person, and then you could actually comprehend and understand.
You can hear in your own language.
You can hear in your own language what they're saying.
Yeah, it's a translator. Yeah.
You can actually communicate with them. So I really love that.
Yeah. Well, they did a good job of kind of explaining things. I mean, there were a lot of things, like I said. I think that's kind of what made it basic for me too. Is there are a lot of things that were almost too simple or too easily explained.
Well, he needed to have the eye patch so that she can decipher who was the real and who.
Yes, that was a plot device. So you guys see, everybody sees Elio with an eye patch, and no, he has 2 functional eyes. The eye patch is just because when he got in a fight with one of the kids, he scratched his eye.
So they needed to do something.
And they needed to put that eye patch on there. So he's not Pirate Elio going out in the universe. So yes, he does have 2 functional eyes, but he does wear that eye patch the most of the movie, I think. Anyway, Millie's still thinking about, she doesn't know. I didn't know this question was going to be such a life-changing event, so hard, and I'm sorry.
She'll report back later.
She will report back. I'll post in the comments what her final decision is.
If they did, that's why I hope they do a live action Elio, because it would be so much easier.
It would be harder to do all those aliens, I think.
No, it'd be easier to, what's it called? It'd be easier to compare.
Oh, the movies. Well, yeah, it's kind of like you're comparing a live action compared to a animated feature. Yes, true. You're right about that.
How about you?
We're so used to Disney doing live actions now. It's ingrained in her mind.
Yeah.
That every movie has to have a live action.
A live action.
How about
yeah.
you, Jed?
I don't think Elio could be a live action version. And the reason I say it is I just think, at least at this point, no. I think the animation would be almost too hard. They might be able to do it. I don't know if they could pull off the same look, though, that they did with the movie, the animated movie. I mean, they've done a lot with live action as far as special effects and virtual, but that would be a tough one. That would definitely be a tough one. I think the movie, if they left the movie alone, I think that's fine. I think that's a problem with Disney too, is everything doesn't have to be a live action version. And I will, this is the other thing I will say, at least, and the one thing that this movie is that it was definitely, and it might get some kids interested, definitely leaning towards more of the space program. And, and that's where its base was, as far as, the movie itself and learning about space.
Yeah, the main theme of what it's about.
But, exploration. Right. And
but, are we alone? Are we alone on Earth, with other friends and family members? You're never alone compared to, are we alone out there in the universe? So.
Yeah, and so, I would say that's one of the good things about this movie, I was going to say, is that it's an original. It's not a part two. It's not a remake of something. As far as I know, I mean, this is an original character, an original movie itself for Pixar. So that's one of the great things about it, is they're coming out with, which is what I was getting at. I'd love to see more original content. This
on the Disney side,
especially Disney side. But yeah, this whole let's remake this and let's remake that, and it's no. Let's see more original stories come out. I mean, there's plenty more to be had. You had your hand up there, Millie. What would you want to say?
I made up my mind. They're tied. And
okay.
What do you guys think?
What? Here, I'm gonna do it. Now I was getting ready for this big reveal that she wanted to, and then she goes, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Ah." That's how I felt right there. I was like,
well, they're tied.
Okay. You're saying they're tied?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
About what? Which one do I want to see again? I would say I would have to see Lilo and Stitch again. Yeah, I think for me, Elio was a good movie, but I would rather see Lilo. If I had a choice, I'd rather see Lilo and Stitch 2 again. Yeah. That's what I think.
What do I think?
I'm leaning a little bit.
What do you think? She's asking.
I'm leaning a little bit more towards Elio, just like
you want to see it again?
Like 1%.
Well, that's good. Okay. All right. What do you think there, Jen? What do you want to see Lilo and Stitch 2 or Elio?
They're apples and apples.
Well, it is live action versus animation.
Apples and oranges, you mean?
No, the reason why I say apples and apples because they both there's aliens in both of them. But apples and oranges, yes, one animated, one live action. I can't, I don't. That's
you don't know.
tough. I mean, if I don't know. Probably this one.
Okay.
Elio.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Good. You have one more thing, or what are you doing?
I made up my mind.
I see your finger pointing.
Tied.
They're tied. Okay, so they're tied. You want to see them both again?
Yeah.
Okay, we could definitely do that. So overall, I think this is definitely. I think this is a win for families. I think it's a good family film. I think it has a good. There are a lot of funny moments in it, and it has a good family message to the film, as well as a message of space exploration. Might get some kids excited back in the space program here, and so we can explore other worlds.
Everyone clapped at the end.
You're right. That was kind of fun. I noticed that people clapped, and that's really a good sign. There are a lot of younger kids in the audience. What would you say? Probably maybe 10, 11 and under. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of families, and people were clapping. They were definitely happy with it in the end. So that is definitely a good sign. So I would go to say, that's definitely a positive sign for the movie to go watch it. All right. Anything else? No, I didn't think so. Okay. We're getting out of here, folks. We're getting out of here. Anyway, yes, go check out Elio. It's a good movie. As always, check out our social medias, and if you can, subscribe. We appreciate it. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Do you want to say anything else before you leave? You're making faces. What do you want to say? You want to say bye?
Woof woof.
Woof woof.
Okay.
All right, guys. Take care out there. Catch you on the next one.
On the next Alien movie.